Yamunatiravanathaṁ Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharam Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharam Hari Yashodanandana Vrindavan Yashodanandana Vrajadhanaranjana Yamunatiravanathaṁ Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharam Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharam Hari Yashodanandana Vrajadhanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajadhanaranjana Yamunatiravanathaṁ Hari Yamunatiravanathaṁ Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharam Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharam Hari Yashodanandana Vrajadhanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajadhanaranjana yamunatiravanataṁ hari yamunatiravanataṁ Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Shama Sundara Radha Shama Sundara Hare Jaya Radha Sham Radha Sham Radha Sham Jaya Radha Sham Jaya Kṛṣṇa Balaram Kṛṣṇa Balaram Kṛṣṇa Balaram Jaya Kṛṣṇa Balaram Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Vishwapad Paramhamsa Parivirajagacaya Sota Satta Shishmachila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya Vishwapad Paramhamsa Parivirajagacaya Sota Satta Shishmachila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki Sirup Si Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Chari Goswami Prabhu ki Prem Se Kausi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shavajari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopal Gopi Gopinath Cham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki Vrindavan Dham ki Mathura Dham ki Mayapur Dham ki Jagannathpuri Dham ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki Ganga Yamuna Devi ki Vrinda Devi ki Harinam Sankirtan Yaga ki Sri Sri Gonitai ki Sri Sri Krishna Balaram ki Sri Sri Radha Shama Sundar ki Go Premanande Hare Hare Bol Samavita Bhakta Vrinda ki All glories to the Assembly devotees, all glories to the Assembly devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 8th chapter, 4th verse. Adhibhūtam kṣaro bhāvaḥ puruṣaś cādhidaivatam adhiyajñam evātra dehe deha-bhṛtāṁ vara adhibhūtam kṣaro bhāvaḥ puruṣaś cādhidaivatam adhiyajñam evātra dehe deha-bhṛtāṁ vara adhibhūtaṁ kṣaro bhāvaḥ puruṣaś cādhidaivatam adhiyajño evātra dehe deha-bhṛtāṁ vara
adhibhūtaṁ kṣaro bhāvaḥ puruṣaś adhidaivatam adhiyajño aham evātra dehe deha-bhṛtāṁ vara
adhibhūtaṁ kṣaro bhāvaḥ puruṣaś cādhidaivatam adhiyajño evātra dehe deha-bhṛtāṁ vara adhibhūtaṁ kṣaro bhāvaḥ puruṣaś adhidaivatam adhiyajño evātra dehe deha-bhṛtāṁ vara
adhibhūtam, the physical manifestation. Kṣara, constantly changing. Bhava, nature. Puruṣaḥ, the universal form, including all the demigods like the sun and moon. Cha, and adhidaivatam, called adhidaiva. Adhiyajña, the Supersoul. Aham, I, Kṛṣṇa. Eva, certainly. Atra, in this. Dehe, body. Deha-bhṛtāṁ, of the embodied. Vara, or best. Translation of purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called adhibhūta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called adhidaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as a Supersoul in the heart of every embodied being, am called adhiyajña, the Lord of Sacrifice. Purport. The physical nature is constantly changing. Material bodies generally pass through 6 stages. They are born, they grow, they remain for some duration, they produce some byproducts, they dwindle, and then they vanish. This physical nature is called adhibhūta. It is created at a certain point and will be annihilated at a certain point. The conception of the universal form of the Supreme Lord, which includes all the demigods and the different planets, is called adhidaivatam. And present in the body along with the Supersoul with the individual soul is the Supersoul, a plenary representation of Lord Kṛṣṇa. The Supersoul is called the Paramatma or adhiyajña and is situated in the heart. The word Eva is particularly important in the context of this verse because by this word the Lord stresses that the Paramatma is not different from Him. The Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, seated beside the individual soul, is the witness of the individual soul's activities and is the source of the soul's various types of consciousness. The Supersoul gives the individual soul an opportunity to act freely and witnesses his activities. The functions of all these different manifestations of the Supreme Lord automatically become clarified for a pure Kṛṣṇa conscious devotee engaged in transcendental service to the Lord. The gigantic universal form of the Lord called adhidaivatam is contemplated by the neophyte, who cannot approach the Supreme Lord in his manifestation as Supersoul. The neophyte is advised to contemplate the universal form of Virat Puruṣ, whose legs are considered lower planets, whose eyes are considered the sun and moon, and whose head is considered the upper planetary system. Om Jnana Timirantasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksuran Militam Yanam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupagadāmayam Dadati Sapadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutabhata Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhotam Parijana Saitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Kṛṣṇa Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vidamscha He Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastade Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaeva cha paritanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Śivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Adhibhūtam kṣaro bhāvaḥ puruṣaś cādhidaivatam adhiyajñaḥ evātra dehe deha-bhṛtāṁ vara. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature which is constantly changing is called adhibhūta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods like those of the sun and moon, is called adhidaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the Supersoul in the heart of every embodied being, am called adhiyajña, the Lord of sacrifice. So in this chapter, Arjuna is inquiring from Kṛṣṇa, what is Brahman, which is referring to the absolute truth. What is the self? Means ultimately that refers to the soul, but in conditions life, it may also, and even according to the Sanskrit Shabdakosh dictionary, it may refer also to the body and the mind. What about fruitive activities being in this world? And what is this material world and the demigods? So these are the questions. Who is the Lord of the sacrifice? And how we can know Kṛṣṇa at the time of death. So these are the questions of Arjuna. So Kṛṣṇa is answering and in the previous verse that the living entity is called Brahman. Of course, there's Para-Brahman also. so which refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like Atma, so that refers to the individual soul, or maybe the body, but at the same time it may refer also to the Supreme Lord, Paramatma. So similarly, Brahman may also refer to the individual living entity as here, but even to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, but here specifically it is mentioned that it refers to the living entity. And so the nature of the living entity is called Adhyatma, the self. And the activities in this world, so these are known as karma. And so then now in this, and also we know different kinds of klesha there, difficulties. There, these three words are mentioned also, adhyatmic klesh, which refers to difficulties coming from one's own body, and the gross body and the subtle body, because sometimes disease is there that is due to the gross body, some cold or malaria and so on, but then also difficulties or disease from, and in terms of the consciousness, the mind, mental disease is there. So these are adhyatmic klesh. And then adhibhūta, that refers to, as mentioned here also, adhibhūta, the physical nature which is changing. So that refers to these things pertaining to this world, the mountains and the ocean and so on. And so the difficulties from there is adhibhūtic. If there is too much rain, so there is some misery from there, some flood. Some air is becoming flooded. There's a difficulty. Or there is not enough rain is there. Again in difficulty, adhibhūtic klesh. Or there's an earthquake. So these are known as adhibhūtic klesh. And then adhidaiva, here mentioned, it refers to universal form. And so included in that, so actually included in the universal form, the adhibhūta is there also, the physical elements of this material world. But more than that, so but the universal form is a so-called manifestation of the Supreme Lord, showing that everything is included in the Supreme Lord. And it is mentioned specifically here that the sun and the moon, basically also, so the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, means there's a moon planet is there and the sun planet, but there's a personality there, the sun god and the moon god. And so that is known as adhidaivic. And that maybe the klesh is there also, the difficulties, which because the demigods are controlling to some extent, of course as representatives of the Lord, they are controlling the happenings in this world. But ultimately they are also under the direction of the Lord, and mostly they are known as servants of the Lord. And then the Supreme Lord, represented as a Supersoul in the heart, is known as adhiyajña, the Lord of sacrifice. And that was also asked by Arjuna, who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in the body? So that was the question. So then he's answering. So the Lord of sacrifice is situated in everyone's heart. And Yajña Vishnu. Vishnu is performed for the pleasure of Vishnu. Yajña is performed for the pleasure of Vishnu. Yajña Vishnu. So that is then here mentioned as adhiyajña, and is there in the heart of all the embodied beings, not only of the human beings, but also in the body of the animals, the birds, aquatics. And he's directing, as mentioned also in other places in Bhagavad Gita, is directing the wanderings of the conditioned soul. So to some extent, so Prabhupada is elaborating on these three aspects here, which Kṛṣṇa is mentioning here: adhibhūta, adhidaivata, and adhiyajña. And as Prabhupada is mentioning, the word eva is particularly important in the context of this verse, because by this word the Lord stresses that the Paramatma is not different from him. So because Kṛṣṇa is speaking here, Kṛṣṇa, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is standing before Arjuna, but at the same time, so he is situated in everyone's heart. Adhiyajña aham eva. So that is there in the verse. Adhiyajña, the Supersoul, aham, I, Kṛṣṇa, eva, certainly I am that also. Or that the Supersoul is my expanded form. So that is, eva, the word is there to stress, so that one may understand that the Paramatma is not different from Kṛṣṇa. At the same time, there is a difference there between Kṛṣṇa and the Paramatma. So Kṛṣṇa is Adipuruṣ, the original personality of Godhead. Ishvara Parama Kṛṣṇa Satyanananda Vigraha Nadi Radhir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is Parameshwar. His form is transcendental, eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. He is the cause of everything. Everything is emanating from him, as Kṛṣṇa himself is saying in the 10th chapter. So the Supersoul, also known as Kshirodakshai Vishnu, is the third of the Puruṣaḥ avatars. There are three Puruṣaḥ avatars. And they are coming from Mahashankarshan. And Mahashankarshan is expansion of Mūl Shankarshan, that is Balaram in Dwarka. And Mūl Shankarshan is an expansion of Adi Balaram in Braj, Balaram in Braj. And Braj is in Braj, so Balaram is the first expansion of Kṛṣṇa. He's not different from Kṛṣṇa, at the same time he's different also. So, what's the difference between Kṛṣṇa and Balaram? Difference between Kṛṣṇa and Balaram? What's the difference?
Balaram is white, Kṛṣṇa is black.
Yeah, right. Very good answer. Nice. Yeah. And they're both beautiful. But Kṛṣṇa is more beautiful. Usually people, they don't like so much black. But that is the original color. And all the colors are included in black. That is according to the scriptures. So, therefore, black must be beautiful too. And Kṛṣṇa is beautiful. Kṛṣṇa Chandra is most beautiful. And is effulgent. And the Brahma Jyoti is the bodily effulgence of Kṛṣṇa. And the sun and the moon, the effulgence of the sun and moon, they come from Kṛṣṇa's body. The Brahma Jyoti is Kṛṣṇa's bodily effulgence. And not different from Kṛṣṇa, but at the same time, Krishna is in Golok, having his pastimes with his associates, and the effulgence is all pervading in Golok, in Krishna Loka, and which is the highest planet, and the expansions of there of Krishna, the Vishnu Murtis, and they also effulgence. And so, whole spiritual sky is there, the Brahma Jyoti. So, but prominent is Krishna, most prominent. So, of course, some of the differences there also between Krishna and Balaram, by the way, not only the color. Krishna, so as the original being, Sar Aishwarya Purna, Sar Aishwarya Purna is full of all opulences. 6 are mentioned. The beauty is most beautiful, strength is most strong. Balaram is strong, true, right? Balaram. Ram is name and Bala means the strength. And renunciation and so many things, but Krishna is the topmost, most beautiful, most knowledgeable, most powerful, most opulent. Vishnu is very opulent, Narayan, big palaces they have. But Vaikuntha Lok, in which Narayan is living with Vishnu, big planet is there, but in comparison to Golok Vrindavan, it is nothing. In one letter Prabhupada is written, all the Vaikuntha planets together don't equal to Golok Vrindavan. Huge Golok. And the other planets are small. So Krishna is the strongest also. One time also Prabhupada, here in Krishna Balaram temple, asked the devotees, so, who is stronger, Balaram or Krishna? Who is stronger, Balaram or Krishna? Krishna. What do you say? Krishna. So he was asking also. Some devotees were saying, no, Balaram is stronger. And some were saying Krishna. And mostly devotees, they know already, Krishna is stronger, you're right. And then Prabhupada was saying, then he was explaining why also, just in a very humorous way. You see Krishna Balaram on the altar? So Krishna is standing with the flute, and Balaram is putting his left arm on Krishna's right shoulder. So therefore, Krishna is the support of Balaram also. He has to put his arm on Krishna's right shoulder. Yeah. So of course that is a humorous way, because the brothers, and Balaram is the elder brother. That's why actually sometimes the elder brother will put the arm on the shoulder of the younger brother, but the younger brother will not put his arm on the shoulder of the elder brother, because there's of course in transcendental realm also there's some kind of etiquette is there, and even in this world there's an etiquette there, how to behave. So, or to the father, you don't put your arm on the father of on the shoulder of the father, but the father may put his arm on the shoulder of his son when he's grown up. So different ways of doing, and of course different ways of explaining. So Prabhupada very nicely has translated here Bhagavad Gita and given a wonderful purport for our benefit, so we may have a complete understanding. And then of course Prabhupada himself sometimes then he was giving class and elaborating further on his purport also. And then he asked his disciples also to speak on the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, reading the verse and then the purport. So that we may have a clear understanding of the subject matter for ourselves, and then so we may also explain to others. So Krishna or the Paramatma is there in the heart and is trying to help the conditioned soul to advance in spiritual life. And even Kṛṣṇa is so merciful, or even the Supersoul, he will try to help the transcendentalists or the devotee to be also somewhat comfortable in this world. Of course, first of all, in this world we can never be completely comfortable because there's always some difficulty. As explained, adhyatmika, adhidaivika, adhibhūtik. We have to simply tolerate. But if we surrender to Kṛṣṇa, it becomes a little easier because Kṛṣṇa is helping us and Kṛṣṇa is giving us also the strength to tolerate the different difficulties. So that is the situation. So here, Prabhupada, towards the end of this purport, that these different manifestations of the Lord become clarified for the pure devotees. Pure Kṛṣṇa conscious devotee engaging in transcendental loving service. So one who is engaged in devotional service to Kṛṣṇa, then he will understand everything clearly. As Prabhupada is writing, Bhagavad Gita as it is. It becomes very clear when the pure devotee is explaining. But for those who are not so advanced, so it's not so clear, and for this purpose also Prabhupada is writing, for the neophyte who cannot approach the Supreme Lord as he is on his manifestation as Supersoul, so then they may try to see the Lord in this material world, and Virat Puruṣ, and how he is present everywhere. So therefore even in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the universal form is described. So by hearing that, then we can try to see that the Lord is present in this world. And then by becoming more purified, then one can understand also that the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma, as Supersoul. And then when one is more purified in consciousness, and then one can understand the Supreme Lord either Vishnu or Kṛṣṇa in the spiritual realm. And that is actually the highest understanding. So to understand that we are not this body and spirit soul, and that we have a relationship with the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. Also in the scriptures, the 3 stages are explained of emancipation of spiritual understanding: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So that is explained also, famous verse from the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdyate. So Vadanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam Yajñam Advayam. So the learned persons, those who have studied the scriptures, Vadanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam Yajñam Advayam, the knowers of the Vedic literatures, basically also the adhiyajña, the non-dual knowledge of this absolute truth. Non-dual means beyond these dualities of this material world, that is the spiritual realm. And so they differentiate between Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So here the word Brahman, Brahmeti, Brahma iti, the absolute Brahman, so that refers not to the individual, but it refers to the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth, that is the Brahma Jyoti. And then Paramatma, that is a localized aspect of the Supreme Lord situated in everyone's heart, the Paramatma. And the Paramatma is actually only situated in this world, in this material world. The Paramatma is transcendental to this body, the material existence, but is manifested in this world to accompany the conditioned, embodied soul. And so Paramatma, Kṣaraḥ Vishnu, is expanded form of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, who is expanded form of Mahavishnu, also known as Karanadaksha Vishnu. And these three puruṣavatars, so one by one, they're coming from Maha Shankarshan. So Vishnu Murti, known as Shankarshan, Maha Shankarshan. So the Brahmajyoti is the effulgence of the Lord, and Paramatma is simply the expanded form of the expanded form of the expanded form of Kṛṣṇa, as explained before. Mahashankarshan is expansion of Mūl Shankarshan in Dwarka Balaram, and is an expansion of Balaram. So that is the situation. So but Kṛṣṇa is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So of course, even there some differentiation may be there, that in the spiritual realm, the highest planet is known as Kṛṣṇa Loka. And Kṛṣṇa Loka is divided in 4. There's Dwarkapuri, where Dwarkadish is residing, and then Mathurapuri, where Vasudeva Krishna is residing, and then there's Golok Vrindavan, and in the most part is Braj Vrindavan, where Yashoda Nandan Shyama Sundar Gopinath is residing. And then there's one more place known as, who knows? Shvetadip Navadvip. It is part of Kṛṣṇa Loka. Shvetadip Navadvip, where Gauranga Sundar is residing. Satchinandana Gaura Hari, who is none different from Radha and Kṛṣṇa. His Kṛṣṇa would be the bhāv and duty, with the mood and the luster of Srimati Radharani. So, is residing, that is next to Golok, is Shvetadip Navadvip. So that is the highest realm. So Vishnu's Paramatma is only in this world, in the material world. But the original form is Mahashankarshan. So Adhibhūta Kṛṣṇa. So wonderful Kṛṣṇa and wonderful spiritual world, and even material world is wonderful because it is coming from Kṛṣṇa. And it is a perverted reflection of the spiritual realm. But it is complete and perfect also, the material world. But just a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So this is the Lord's pastime, also the manifestation of this world. And ultimately everything is for Krishna's pleasure. And so it is also to give the opportunity to the Nitya-baddha, the eternally conditioned souls, who since time immemorial have been in conditioned, spiritual conditioned state, not serving Krishna. They come to this world and they get an opportunity to understand that by nature they are actually servants of Krishna. Jivara Swapoi Krishna Nityadas. By the mercy of the Lord, the scriptures, and especially the pure devotees, they cannot understand more and more, and then they will understand these aspects as mentioned here. Adidaivik, adhibhūtik, adhibhūta, adhidaivata, adhiyajña, adhiyajña. They will understand clearly. And they will understand that actually ultimately we have to surrender to the Supreme Lord Bhagavan. And we should not merge in the Brahmajyoti, neither we have to surrender to Paramatma. But we take guidance from Paramatma in a conditioned state So we may be able then to advance further, and then we can surrender to Kṛṣṇa or to Narayana or Vishnu, Ramchandra Bhagavan, with whom we have an eternal relationship. So, but that is already fixed. It's not that we can desire, okay, let me become a devotee of Kṛṣṇa. Let me become a devotee of Ram. No, it is already there in ourself, but it is in dormant state. And by engaging in devotional service, it will be revealed in due course of time. So that is the situation. So, and then, so in the purified state, so we can understand that Kṛṣṇa is there, and then for example, for the devotees who are more advanced, so they're praying to Kṛṣṇa, praying to Mahaprabhu, so they can advance and they try to be fully absorbed in remembering or serving Mahaprabhu or Kṛṣṇa. And then they will also, of course, they understand that Kṛṣṇa is also in our heart, Mahaprabhu is in our heart. And they will not see the Paramatma. If they see the Paramatma, they say, Pranam to Paramatma, let me surrender to Kṛṣṇa. Where is Kṛṣṇa? Where is Mahaprabhu? They're looking only for Kṛṣṇa or Mahaprabhu. They call Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa. Hey Radhe Brajadevike Chalite He Nanda Suno Kutaha. Hey Kṛṣṇa, where are you? Hey Radhe Lalita Vishaka, where are you? Or Ha Gauranga, Jainitai. So calling out to their Ishtadev, Aradhyadev, to the Lord of their life. And so, but they know that Paramatma is there also. They're just, but they don't need, when they're more advanced, they don't need the guidance of Paramatma, but they take direct guidance from Kṛṣṇa. And then, so Kṛṣṇa is there and Paramatma is, as of course Paramatma ultimately is we included in Kṛṣṇa. But just for the, but so in the beginning stage, Kṛṣṇa, I mean, if the conditioned souls are there, and Kṛṣṇa is busy performing his pastimes, and in the beginning stage, so Paramatma is helping the conditioned soul. Only when they are more advanced, then Kṛṣṇa is directly reciprocating. So, so that we should try to understand. So the function of this different energies of the Lord also. So the external energy is there, keeping the conditioned souls in this world, even trying to pull down the practicing devotee as a test. And then the internal energy is there, Daiviye Shamaya Guramaya Taratyaya, to the internal potency, and we'll try, the internal potency is there to help also the devotees. When we recognize the need to approach the energy of the Lord, Daivi Shakti, the internal potency, and then ultimately, of course, Srimati Radharani, she is the original potency. And then by surrendering to Radharani, then we can approach Kṛṣṇa and we can serve Kṛṣṇa properly. So a few thoughts in this regard to this verse and purport. Any questions? Yes.
Thanks for the wonderful class. My question is that please help me understand, like when we say this material world is perverted reflection of the spiritual world.
Yes.
How to understand this? When we say reflection of the spiritual world is so healthy, so nice.
Right.
And the material world is so difficult, so much problem.
Yeah, so perverted reflection. So reflection is there, just like, for example, you have for example, you have the sun, and then you can see that the reflection of the sun may be seen, or the sun may be seen in the water also. The sun is there, and then you have a body of water, or you have a mirror also, and you can have the sun in the mirror, right? That is a reflection of the sun. Okay? Or in the water also, you can have a pot of water, you can see the sun in there. So that is a reflection. So that is a reflection of the sun, but then you have the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So perverted means something which is not original, which is not as good. Perverted. So like you have a person, a normal person, and you have a perverted person. He's a person, but he's perverted, he's doing things, or thinking things, or doing things which are not right. Like that. So the material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. The spiritual world is perfect and complete. And the material world, so it is similar to the spiritual world, and by itself it is also perfect because it's coming from the perfect, but because it is a material manifestation, it is known as perverted. It is not as good as the spiritual world. Because the spiritual world is full of bliss, full of knowledge, and it is eternal. Material world is a miserable place, and it is temporary. It is not eternal. So therefore it is known as perverted reflection of the spiritual world. In this world the beings are there, like human beings or animals are there. In the spiritual world, the original form of Kṛṣṇa is there, of the associate of the Lord, like the gopis, the friends of Kṛṣṇa. But their form is Satchidananda Vigraha, eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. But this form is not full of bliss and knowledge, no. It is miserable. It will stay for 50, 60, 70, 80, maybe 90 years even, but then it will be finished. So in this way it is perverted. And same with the animals in the spiritual world, but they are such an Ananda Swarup. They are eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. Everlasting, but this material world are temporary. Rivers are there in the spiritual world, in Golok, Jamuna river is there, it is pure. In this material world, Yamuna, you have seen Yamuna, especially nowadays. Yamuna by nature is pure, but because the people are not pure, therefore the Yamuna river is not pure either, and they are not careful, the people. So that is perverted reflection. This material world is perverted. Is that okay? Okay. Anything else? Yes.
Like normally people ask, why is Kṛṣṇa black? How to answer them?
Why Kṛṣṇa is black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is Kṛṣṇa black? Like, what to answer?
As mentioned, because all the colors are there in black. Yeah. Everything is included in Kṛṣṇa. Therefore it's black. Because everything is there.
All colors are there.
All colors are there in Kṛṣṇa. Everything is coming from Kṛṣṇa. There's no black in the white, you know? You have the white, there's no black in the white. But there's white in the black. And Kṛṣṇa's influence is there. But Kṛṣṇa and Radharani is golden in complexion. Kṛṣṇa sometimes he becomes golden in complexion. Radha chinta nivesanam yasya kante vilopitaha. Because he's thinking about Srimati Radharani. So there's a pastime near Imlitala. After Ras Leela, so Kṛṣṇa leaves, Radharani leaves, and then Kṛṣṇa leaves. And Kṛṣṇa is together with Radharani for some time, and then Kṛṣṇa leaves Radharani. And then so he comes to Imlitala, place is still there, and he's meditating on Radharani. Being absorbed in Radharani, his complexion is changing to golden. And then the gopis coming looking for Kṛṣṇa. And they're seeing this beautiful, handsome young man. And they're wondering, who is this person? Looking like Kṛṣṇa. But Kṛṣṇa is absorbed in Radharani, so his complexion is golden. They're looking like Kṛṣṇa. And they come closer and closer. So who is this person? And we are attracted to this person. Although we love Kṛṣṇa and Kṛṣṇa is everything for us, but still some attraction is there for this golden complexion, handsome young person. And they come closer and closer. And then when Radharani is just in front of Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa is opening his eyes and seeing Radharani, and then his consciousness is not thinking about Kṛṣṇa, he's not thinking about Radharani. So therefore his complexion is changing into blackish. So Kṛṣṇa can change his color also if he wants, when he's absorbed in Radharani. So, but because everything is included in Kṛṣṇa. And that is the indication of Gaur Lila, of Mahaprabhu, who is Kṛṣṇa himself, but with the complexion and mood of Srimati Radharani, Gauranga. Radha bhavadyuti savintam nome Kṛṣṇa sarupam. That is the situation. Okay? Okay, we stop here. Hari